let's paint the picture of your experience with not covert at the slightest, very overt, direct, malicious, intended racism that you had to experience when you were at Cronkite.
Definitely. So like you said, like I was so like wide-eyed my freshman year. Like I fell in love with radio because I was like, oh my God, this guy's in radio. He's so cool. Like I want to be his friend. Like, so like I don't know if you knew that about me, but I was like super inspired by you to like jump in all like everything with me like to Blaze. So like I just want to thank you for that. And that's why I really like was super passionate about radio too, because I was like, oh, if like he's doing his thing, like I can do my thing. And then I saw James doing Blaze as well. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a cool and safe space. And so freshman year, the first thing you do is start on Press Pass. And so like Press Pass, obviously it's like nerve-wracking for a freshman to get up there, read like your script that you're doing. I think I did weather, and then I was doing like other things as well, and just reading it off. And so I met this great group of people within my Press Pass group, and one of the guys in particular. And so I met this kid, Alex Argyros, and we became like pretty good friends. And like I thought he was really friendly. His brother Will was like super friendly towards me and helped me throughout my time at Press Pass. And so we decided to kind of start a show together, me, Alex, and this guy named Zach Quinn. And so we just all started hanging out. It was very comfortable. And then while I was with my friend, I'm not sure if you know Danny Labadie, but he's Black, he's very tall, super like just bubbly. Like he's a fitness instructor, and he was just kind of trying to find himself just as much as I was in college. He hadn't come out as gay yet, but we were just like, like both kind of like still like we're great friends, but like still like we didn't know kind of like what, like I don't know how to explain this, where like you're not really comfortable in your own skin is what I'm trying to say. And so we were hanging out with Alex and his girlfriend Ashton in their dorm one day, and Alex makes this offhand comment, just guys, Black babies kind of look like monkeys. And Danny and I like look at each other like, what did he just say? And like we just, again, like I was saying, like we didn't, like this isn't like Bree in like 2020. This is like Bree back in like 2000, like 15, 16, like very like timid towards these kind of like what, like first of all, like who would even say something like that? And so Danny just straight up goes like, no, they don't. And then Ashton just starts giggling and saying, yeah, they kind of do. And I'm like, all right. So we just like at that point kind of like got up and like walked away and like left. But like we were just like, did they just say that to us? And like that's when we were like, this is like really weird. Like why would they say something like that? And then during our show, it's called Afternoon Delay, and it was just like a 1 hour show, basically like a news update about what's like current events. And one of the events we were covering, one of the shows, was about those Autuki girls that spelled the N-words with their shirt. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
Yeah, I was just like, are you kidding me? And like, I didn't even, coming to Arizona, I didn't understand like how like racist people were there actually. Like, yeah, like it kind of like opened my eyes to like, whoa, like this is like not like as like, I don't know, I guess like being around certain people, I was just kind of like, oh, like they're not like that. But then like I saw news stories like that, and then I kind of like understood more of like the fraternities and sororities and kind of how like racism, things like that. But so like that story came up, and we were discussing it, and Alex, this was off air, Alex was just like, well, why are they getting in trouble for that? Like, I don't even think they should be punished. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, Bree, if you can say the N-word, why can I say the N-word? And
yeah, oh, that conversation, lovely.
yeah, so it was just like, and Zach, like he was there and being like, because we're white, but he was just kind of like, he wasn't like, like sticking up for me the way I'd wish he was, but he was more like, well, it's because we're white, very passive, didn't want to engage with Alex because like he was really dead set on like, you should be able to say the N-word because he's white, whatever. So like that was just like another thing that just like really like that just like set me off. Like I was like, okay, like I really had to explain like, no, like you cannot say this, like all this stuff. And then it comes around to Trump is nominated as like the Republican,
Candidate or
like,
whatever.
yeah, whatever. And he hasn't yet won, I believe, president, or maybe he has. It all kind of blurs together because to be completely honest, I like really like blacked out part of this experience just because it was like that traumatizing. Just because like I'll explain later, but like I really sorry, I'm getting like emotional.
No, it's okay.
I just feel like I lost a lot, and like I lost my time at the Blaze that I really loved. And so like sometimes like thinking back on it makes me like really sad. And I was like, I'm not gonna cry because like I'm gonna be strong, but it's hard because I really loved it. But
Mm.
it was either he became the Republican nominee or he was like set to like win whatever. But we were doing a show about how Trump, I think the videotape of like him saying all those like nasty sexual assault things had come out,
Mm.
and we were talking about Trump on our news update, whatever. And again, this is another conversation that happened before we went on air, and I was just talking about how I had all these facts. That's the thing, is like I always came to the show with facts, and I was like really prepared. And I just came in there and I was like, like Trump has said this about like so many different like Black people. Like I've brought up like the exonerated five, like the
Yeah.
newspaper article he took out, just like all these like different examples of how he's a racist, how he's a sexual predator. And I was just like, he's just as bad as like Woodrow Wilson. And like he was like, I was like, yeah, like Woodrow Wilson, like instilling like Jim Crow, things like that. And he was like, Jim Crow, like that never actually passed or existed. And I was like,
Whoa.
that's when it like, yeah, that's when it really hit me, because like my
Whoa.
grandma grew up on a plantation in Mississippi.
Mm.
She's the daughter of sharecroppers, and before that, the daughter of slaves. And so it just really hit me hard. I left the show because like that day I just left. I didn't record anything. I didn't do anything. I just left and like quit because I was just tired of him like not only like gaslighting me, because he knew how to like get me like really upset, because he just
Mhm.
would always like hammer this like Trump agenda and like very like kind of like overt like racism, like use it like to make me like upset. And then also just like not understanding like the facts. Like I had the facts right there, everything he said, everything did, and they just weren't taking me seriously. And so I ended up leaving. And that's when I told my like Patty Pibburn, she was my something with like the stand-up journalism class where you have to like be in front of the camera. She was that teacher.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I just felt like really comfortable with her because like she has mixed kids, and like she was kind of like a mom professor. Like she was always like checking in on me, being like, are you okay? Things like that.
Sure.
She's such a sweet lady, and she'd just become like the new Blaze advisor. And so I told her
Mhm.
the entire thing of like what happened. And then she decided that, hey, like you need to tell Amanda Roberto, because she is like the station
She
manager
was the station manager at the time, yeah.
at the time. Yeah. And so like I was like really hesitant, because I was like I don't really know, because I feel like everyone's gonna be like oh, like he couldn't have done that or something. Like I just felt like, why am I gonna go through all this trouble? But I decided to talk to Amanda, and the conversation went well. Like I was really nervous, and I told her what happened in the First Amendment forum, and she ended up taking it to like the diversity or whatever, like council. That guy interviewed me, and then he ended up interviewing Alex, and like nothing was found wrong about it.
Mhm.
Things like that. I think I tried raising it to Dean, nothing happened. Like
Mhm.
it was just like one of those situations where like not only did like the administration fail, but it also felt like me telling my story just like failed. And I just like
And it was
I,
silenced. It was erased.
yeah, and it just sucked because I lost like everything. And I loved Blaze, I loved doing like radio, I loved the environment, I love that was student run. And it was just like for someone to take that away from me because they were racist, just sucked. And then graduation day, it's supposed to be like the happiest day. And then I see him get on stage and get an honor um, by the school, was just like, are you kidding me? After everything, like this guy is going to get like an outstanding graduate award. Like, are you like seriously? Like, so yeah, that's just been really hard. And I'm sorry I got emotional, but it's just like think about it. And it's like, it's a lot.